Hello and welcome. This is Diana, and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be a generalized reading. Uh, we are in the midst of a full moon solar eclipse, and some of you can be at a point of uncertainty or at a point where there are massive shifts happening. And I say that because I can relate to it, right? And if you have, this is going to be a combination of like a what's coming, what you need to know, plus an energy release, right? Because part of my gift is matching the energy that you are holding on to and helping you release it so you can get a little bit of breath and a little bit of a shift in your reality or in your current circumstances, right? And the stuff that I talk about are all things that I've gone through, are going through, or are just helping, right? Holding space for. And so let's see what comes out. But I can tell you, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is a mass collective consciousness of releasing the energies that have kind of held you back or have kept you in a state of fight or flight or freeze as a divine feminine energy, right? Whatever that is for you, it's like whatever you have been unable to attract, that has been causing overwhelm or a lack of plenty, things that have been falling apart in your reality. Let's just throw it on the altar and let's name it and claim it and pull it into the light, right? Because that whole energy of the year of the snake was in fact a shedding of an old paradigm of a masculine energy. And as a collective, we are at a crossroads, not only in the how we hold steadfast, right? Because me and a friend were talking today, and thank God for him, because sometimes you just need a friend to kick you in the ass, and to tell you to get out of your vibe. And if that is the negative, not getting you on a higher timeline vibe, right? And so, like, how do you nurture yourself? Maybe it's you cognitively being aware of the music that you're listening to, what you are, like, so what vibrations are you putting in your own ear? Like, what are the things that you're constantly repeating? And yes, I am a firm believer. It is hard to get out of the shit or get out of the should sandwich, right? It's like when everything is falling around you apart, like how do you get into a state where you are raising your consciousness, right? Like I always say, like I'm very much a realist. Um and it's hard for me to ever, like, I've never been in a state where I am blissfully happy, right? Because there is a lack of cognitive dissonance where I am just like la la la, smell the flowers, be happy, be in the vibe of da 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 da, right? And so maybe you are also the same way. Maybe you are very much, I don't want to say pessimistic, right? Because pessimism is different than a realistic state of the outcome, right? If you're broke and you have no financial backing and you have zero people that you can say, hey, would you mind helping me out, right? Because again, like, let's look at the state of the world. We're all fucking struggling. Like, I don't know where you're at in the world, but there is a mm, plethora of people who are just barely making it by, that are in this state of like earth shattering shit happening around them, right? And 9 years ago when I went through cancer, I thought, oh, it can't get any worse than this, right? I literally hadn't had kids at that point, right? I was 36. And I literally, like, a piece of me died during that whole process because you had to really focus on the what is in front of you, not the what am I losing, right? Because the other losing is you die. And it's one of those things that it's an overwhelming state of being when like everything that has been secure or been your security blanket completely dissolves around you, right? And then all you do is live in a state of regret where you are thinking coulda, woulda, shouldas. But the fact is that the wheel has to turn because where we're at as a collective is not in a state of a heart-centered consciousness. And a heart-centered consciousness doesn't mean that you are happy-go-lucky and everything is always working out for you. But truthfully, like when you're in a state of play, and maybe this is like the ritual that you do for release on this moon, right? Because in order for you to work with that energy, you have to truly like surrender the what is for you and the what has been pulled out of your reality. And when you release it with love, you have to steadfast that God is going to open up a door. It's not hopefully, it's an actuality that your desires of what you truly want are going to come into being, right? And so, like, through humility, the soul grows, right? In evolution. But through the conceptual understanding that we are all one, humanity also does the same, right? And so as you're projecting out like this growth state of being, like what are the negative attributes that you want that are keeping you upside down, right? That's keeping your prosperity upside down or inverted, right? In a state of lack. And where is it that you can like lean into like divine guidance of like honoring and showing you the true working path, right? Like it sucks because sometimes you've got to do the shit that other people don't want to do. Sometimes you have to be at a boring job and then reflect back and look back and say, wow, I really wasted 9 years of my life at that place. I wasted 11 years of my life at that place. And not that you're in a state of it's not in a state of neglect, but in a state of understanding. Like because sometimes you can reflect through a period of time and be excited or be honored that hey, for me it's like I got an extra I'm on bonus years, right? That's the way I look at it. Because the type of cancer that I had was pretty fucking aggressive. And and so for me, I'm thinking, okay, with that 9 years, what did I do? Am I truly different today than I was 9 years ago? And the truth is cognitively, I'm very much aware and very much in my heart. But there are old triggers of security that still are amplifying and creating insecurity, right? Because when you are a feminine energy, your job is to not be the provider. And so many of these societies have it ass backwards, where the women are the ones that are providing while the men are sitting on their hands reading books, right? Or not being providers. And it's through this shift, right? Because again, too, like when a man is not the provider, right? They are losing an aspect of themselves because their divine role is to be the protector, is to be the provider. It is the innate in the soul of the seed of the masculine energy, right? And so when these walls fall down, and same thing with a woman, right? If you've always been forced into a providing role or a sole provider role, right? Like this is the first time in my life at 48 years old where I have not been providing for myself, right? Where I've had to take like this back seat. And it was through succumbing to the stepping into the full divine feminine energy, right? But if you're not executing, then you're not activating your masculine energy. And we're made to house the duality within self, right? And so maybe this full moon is meant to honor the triggered ego or the triggered inabilities of whatever it is for you to step into your highest timeline as a masculine or as a feminine, or looking at the attributes of that docile sidedness, because if you've incarnated as a man, you are supposed to be a masculine energy. You are supposed to be naturally a provider. If you are feminine energy, your job is to be a nurturer and a caretaker, and to truly allow your man to lead, and for you to step to the side and hold the space and be the rock, but to allow them to step into formation. And it's really like looking at the trigger points or the things that you have yet to explore or honor or master, right? Because like this moon is a set, and I don't know why I keep going back to like 2018, but I keep seeing the polarities of the energy. So whatever you wish, you hope for during that period of time, or whatever you were going through, that was a layer of you shedding. It's kind of like allowing you to finally shed that old last bits, and to truly honor and say, I'm done with the karma. I'm done with the instability. I'm done living in fear. I'm done being stagnant. And it's time for me to step into the highest potential that is going to bring me harmony in my day-to-day reality. Because again, you can be happy and be in a state of reflection, but still beating yourself up on the back end, right? Or the coulda, woulda, shouldas, or the living in old wounds far longer than what you need to be, right? And that's not putting you in your strength, that's putting you in your weakness. That's kind of a reiterating or recapitulation of like the coulda, woulda, shouldas. So like, where have you not been patient for yourself, right? Where is it that you need to hold on to your inner power, your inner fortitude, so that you can now step into a brand new journey, and do it in a state of thoughtfulness, in a state of awareness, in a state of allowing, and in a state of alignment, right? And so like, maybe you are not releasing, maybe you haven't journaled it out, or maybe you have been and you're just at a state of frustration because you're like, yo, I keep creating, and there is nothing showing up. And the real question is God, why is there not anything showing up? Like, what is it that is keeping me in a state of overwhelm and in a state of lack, and in a state of I am not fortunate, right? And so like, honor those old thought forms, honor those old entities that are holding and perpetuating that cycle, because that is going to be your breakthrough. That is going to be your shift of saying, motherfucker, I see you. Because those entities are going to attempt to impede you. They're going to attempt to keep your thought form. They're going to attempt to keep you bursting with anger or frustration and keeping you out of your nurturing self, and keeping you out of the it is done and I am a divine gift and I know exactly what God has in stored for me. So some of you out there are crystallines or indigos, and get back into that state of like one love, right? If you can, get into a tub, get into that reflecting pool, and like slow your mind down and ask for God for clarity and wisdom and power and insight. Ask your higher self, how do you ground into the energy, right? Because if you're emotional, if you're in a state where you're picking up energies, like, what is the music that you're listening to? Are they spell casting in the background, or is this putting you on a higher vibrational frequency? Are you watching stuff that they're throwing emotions and energy at you? Maybe you need to turn off the phone or the TV or the YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, right? And step away from whatever energy is over engulfing you and ask yourself, like, how do I want to grow in this next phase? What do I need to do for implementation? How do I need to move in this next phase? And you got to fake it till you make it. You got to really like step up and say, my mind is stronger than my reality. And I know I'm only one turn away from exactly what I desire to step into being. Right. And it's like through the shifting of the crossroads, you then take command of like what it is that you are truly manifesting in your reality, like through whatever new opportunity is going to be partaking. Like once you release it, you're going to feel it like whoosh in. It's almost like it's sometimes you need a friend on the other line to help you transmute and look at life from a different perspective, right? Instead of focusing on loss, like where have you won? Where have you grown and shifted and changed in the last 5 years, in the last 9 years, in the last 11 years, right? You are not the same person that you were. And like, if your reality is telling you that you haven't, like, why is it lying to you? Like, write down your thoughts. Like, that is, most people say, oh yeah, take a note and identify, like, what have you been repeating? Like, what are those thought patterns? How have you been, completely in the same cycles? Like, what is your fate and fortune? And sometimes, like, you think you have done it and you think that you are living it, but then old thoughts come back and tell you haven't. And the question is like, what in your barrier was broken, right? Did an entity get in? Like, do you have energies that have been pushed at you when in actuality, like you're doing pretty fucking good for yourself? Like you are making headway. You are in a balanced state of routine. Like pay attention to the energies and frequencies and the what you're picking up and the what is conditional response or a reality that hasn't helped you grow, and like heal a little bit more and like honor the space of where you are not the same person you were yesterday, let alone 11 years ago, 11 or 13 years ago or 16 years ago, right? And it's like every time that you experience contrast, or something that keeps you in a state of restlessness or disappointment or a lack or a preoccupation, right? Because sometimes we preoccupy our brains, so we don't have to focus on like the stuff that we really need to do, and that can be an entity attachment. Like that can be something that is feeding on your energy, keeping you stuck, stagnant, and impeded. Why? Why? Because if you're not in your heart center and you're not impacting your community, like then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing because you're a tower, because you are a frequency of divine guidance. And so, like, maybe for this moon, you have to get with your intentions of like the what lessons you really have learned in your harmony, what has been keeping you out of harmony, and what you want your harmony to look like in the future, right? And really truly allow that energy to be fully transmuted. Um, and command the soul's growth that you've had up to this point, because you are a creator, you are a divine authority in your own life. And so even if it feels unwielding, even if you're trying to follow impulse, like allow yourself to practice consistency and allow yourself to practice kindness for self, because you're further than you think you are, and you are impacting far greater than what you can really think or see, right? And keep leaning into the love, keep leaning into the breakthrough, keep leaning into the you are a conscious creator. And every time that you have that wave of negativity, like go turn on an Abraham video, like lean into the what you need to know or hear more of, right? I'm going to leave that there. If something in this happened to resonate with you, oh, and by the way, if you have any gaps, if any of this resonated with you, let's take that teal and let's flush that into the aura so that all the gaps that were pulled out and removed have the space to be fully reset and cleared. Um, yeah. If something in this resonated with you, please give it a like, a comment, a subscribe. If you feel lighter and brighter, please do the same. If you would like a healing or a reading, all of the information is at HolisticVibes.org. I do have open sessions, and I'm booking out about a week and a half in advance. Until next time, be well and ciao.